Evan and Tiki with Sean and Evan still enjoying their vacation. So you got Tommy Lugauer, Tiki Barber here taking you up till 6:30. Tiki, the Yankees' recent run here is fool's gold.
What do you mean? It's 4 in a row. Sweep the Cardinals, then you just bludgeon a team you're supposed to bludgeon. This is called winning the games you're supposed to win, Tommy.
That's the way you put it. I put it as the Yankees are bullying weaker opponents, which is something the Yankees have done a lot in the recent years, and they like to puff their chest and they like to pad their stats, and you look up and you say, man, they hit 9 home runs, they put up, double digits against the Rays, and they bludgeoned the Cardinals over the weekend. This is the Yankees doing what the Yankees do, especially in the Aaron's era, the Boone, King Judge era, which is when they get these weaker opponents, these sub-500 teams, these teams that are looking forward to Aruba and vacations come October. The Yankees have this now facade where you feel like, are they back? They're not back, because the same things that have plagued them throughout this season, the same things that plagued them throughout last year in October still exist. They're just being masked right now because they are in the bullying phase of their season.
Why do you sound so saucy about it?
Because it's not a matter of sauciness, because I think you always have to take a step back when things are bad or things are good, and you have to say, all right, who's the opponent? What is the outcome of the game?
Okay, what did the Mets do yesterday?
The Mets,
the same thing.
Well, they beat a national team that has a lot of young talent, is certainly on the rise here.
Okay,
but the Yankees are taking advantage of weaker opponents, and it makes people think, they're back or whatever.
You remember when the Arizona Cardinals used to be in the NFC East?
Sure do.
Right?
I remember Emmitt Smith running for basically 500 yards against them, and then obviously the Giants would beat them routinely.
You know what that was? I mean, there were some games that we lost to them. I don't know how, because we were bad those years. Whatever. There were seasons where the Arizona Cardinals were so bad that as soon as you saw them on your schedule, didn't matter what was happening before or after, and if you happened to be in a slump, it was a good thing, because you know what you called that game? You called that a get-right game.
Get-right spot, sure.
It's a get-right game. And no matter how bad you had been playing, you were almost guaranteed to go to or have the Arizona Cardinals come to your house, and you were going to beat them. You were going to start feeling really good about yourself because of how much you beat the crap out of the Arizona Cardinals.
That would be the Twins for the Yankees. That is their ultimate get-right spot for the last 20 years.
True, but, I mean, at least the Twins are somewhat decent. I'm talking about a team that is bad and you own. That's what the Yankees are doing, and that's what the Yankees needed. So for the last month, just like the Mets, it's been so inconsistent for our two New York baseball teams, but particularly for the Yankees because they have so much damn talent. I mean, they got 3 MVPs. They got the 2017 MVP in Stanton, got the 2019 MVP in Bellinger. They got the 2-time MVP in King Judge in 22 and 24. And so you can't look at their team and say, oh, they shouldn't be bludgeoning people. Of course they should be bludgeoning people. They have MVPs. They just needed a series, and now they're getting, it looks like, 2 series of get-right games. And the get-right games can just lock you back into what you're supposed to be. That's how I'm looking at these games. Yeah, are they supposed to win? Of course they're supposed to win, Tommy. I mean, I'd be shocked and disappointed if they lost a series to the Tampa Rays, especially in their home spring training home, like their ballpark. So, I get what you're saying, but this is what you're supposed to do when you play bad teams, right?
It is what you're supposed to do, but to me it is a microcosm of what this Yankee team is all about. When they play these teams that are, sub 500 or just bad baseball teams, teams they should beat up on it. And I'm not saying don't bully them, but what I am saying is that I think it gives you that false bravado of the Yankees have now turned a corner, or the Yankees are different, or they're back. To me, the same things that we have seen throughout the last couple of years, the bad base running, the bad fundamentals, the bad defense, maybe even the bad starting pitching. We've talked about the Max Fried issues throughout the week here.
We actually kind of got the bad fielding from Jazz, where he muffed the double play, could have got out of the inning. The thing is, because it's the bad pitching for the Rays, he made up for it the next inning and hit a home run.
Yes.
So, I mean, I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean? The manager, you can you can get away with those type of things when you play the Rays, when you play the Cardinals, when you play the Twins, when you play the Rockies. But when you play the Astros, when you play the Tigers, when you play the Blue Jays, and it's happened this year, you got a big set coming up against Boston. And I know Boston's been struggling a little bit, but I think you're going to get a resurgence in the rivalry here with the Yankees and Red Sox. Those things that plague the Yankees will rear its ugly head, and it will cost them in those spots. So the Yankees are always been this bully team that hit a lot of home runs when they face bad pitching, when they face bad middle relief, bad starting pitching. And when you look up and you go, wow, they have 4 wins in a row. Wow, they're clicking. I just think it is fool's gold, and it is false bravado, and it is not in reality. And I'm curious to hear what the Yankee fan thinks, because Yankee fans are used to this, because it's kind of that same, journey every year where you start the season off in April and it's why'd they bring back Boone and Cashman. Then you get to May and you're like, oh, maybe this team is different this year. Then in June, they're the worst team in baseball. They want everybody fired. July, they make a big trade. Everybody loves Cashman. Every year, it's the same thing. It's like riding Pirates of the Caribbean. You know what everything's... Oh, this is the part where Jack Sparrow comes out. And then you get to August, and it's like, I think we might be back here. And then by September and October, they lose the same way they lose every year. So we are at that point on the theme park ride where Yankee fans, at least that's the way I feel, is that, oh, man, maybe we're back here. And it's like, no, you're just the bully team that bullies bad teams.
I don't think that the Yankee fan is absolving the mediocrity over the last 3 weeks at all. I think they are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is we're playing the Rays. We better beat the crap out of them. We're playing the St. Louis Cardinals. We better beat the crap out of them. We're playing Boston. Okay, that might be a series. And if we split, I'm okay with it. Boston is surprisingly good this year. But you were right, Tommy. It did reignite this rivalry because it feels like there's something to this series that's coming up.
Oh, absolutely.
Over the weekend.
No doubt.
Where there's 4 games, and I mean, whoever wins this series is going to be solidly in second place in the AL East. But then right after that, you know who they're playing? The Washington Nationals. And so it's going to be right back to, okay, whatever happened in the Boston series, we got to get right moment coming up. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's baseball. It's the schedule. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you hang tight with the better teams. That's how the Yankees should be thinking about the rest of the season. And then ultimately, when you get to the postseason, you just hope you have some magic.
I get playing who's on your schedule, and I'm not saying that the Yankees should be, punished when you play the weaker teams. You do what you're supposed to do. My point is that until the Yankees get in these series with a team like the Tigers or even the Red Sox.
Oh, they got them all. Trust me. They got Houston coming up soon.
Houston.
Right after that, they have the Toronto Blue Jays. Then right after that, they have the Detroit Tigers. And then right after that, they play the Boston Red Sox again.
Those are the show me series.
Yes.
Those are the prove it series, because against those opponents, maybe you have a night where you bully one of those teams and you put up 13 runs, but I want to see the Yankees win a game 3-2 where all the fundamentals are where it needs to be, where they're running the bases, where Aaron Boone doesn't make a boneheaded decision, where they have all their ducks in a row, where you're not scratching your head going, what was Jazz thinking there? What was Volpe doing on that play? Until they can do that and string those type of performances together against the quality teams of not only the American League but the National League too, I can't say that the Yankees are back. And all along, I thought that they weren't a championship team, Teak. I think they have championship pieces.
Right.
And the Yankees will always at least compete for a playoff spot. Even when they had Travis Hafner and Lyle Overbay and all these other Vernon Wells, they won like 80 games. So the Yankees are never not going to win a lot of games, or at least be in that position. But when you look at the Aaron's era of Boone and King Judge, they bully bad teams to where you think, wow, this team could beat anybody. But we all know this. When you get to October, it's about doing the little things.
Well, they did it last year.
No, but when they got to the Dodgers put the ball in play,
yes.
And let's be honest, embarrassed the Yankees. That was embarrassing the way the Yankees went out last year.
I see. I don't remember it that way.
Your star player dropped the pop-up.
He did, but
your star pitcher didn't cover first.
But those were 2 instances
in the World
Series. A series that they could have won almost all of those games. They could have won all of those games.
But they didn't because Boone made a bad decision in game 1. So that's my point, Tiki, is that they have these things that always rear their ugly head, which get masked in the series against the Twins and the Rays and the Cardinals because they put up 15 runs and they don't allow the score to dictate them making a mistake that will hurt them.
Right. So if last night's game was, I don't know, 4-1 in the 6th inning or whatever, and Jazz makes that mistake and a run scores, now you're sweating. But when it's 9-1, you don't even care really. It's like, all right, whatever, just hit a home run next inning and make up for it. And that's what he does. So you can do that against the bad teams because they're get-right games, and everybody knows it. It's like, all right, you get a home run. You get a home run. You get 2 home runs. You get a home run. Everybody contribute. Hit home runs. That's what it felt like last night. It was almost a hard game to watch because it was like, what the hell are we even doing here? This feels like spring training against the AAA pitcher that you decided to give a chance in camp.
Yeah, it reminded me of the first weekend, and I think this is a perfect example. The opening series of this season, Yankees, Brewers.
Right.
Everything
Nestor.
with the torpedo bats. Remember that hysteria, which has now gone away.
But that was Nestor.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm saying with all the home runs they hit and the way they just absolutely...
Wasn't that against Nestor?
One of the games was against Nestor for sure.
Where they hit back to back to back.
I think they went 3 in a row or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And 5 overall, I think.
They hit 1 million home runs. And that Saturday game specifically where they humiliated the Brewers. Point is that they caught Milwaukee at a bad time. You play that series again against the Brewers, there's no shot that's the way it goes down. And my point is that the Yankees, even against a team like Milwaukee, who now is a great team, at that moment they were weak and the Yankees took advantage of it. When you get to October, and I'll be the first to say, I thought the American League would be the junior varsity this year. It has been a lot better than I thought. Toronto's been better than I thought. Houston has found their way back. I thought the Tigers would be good, but they've been one of the best teams in baseball. And I think the American League is going to be a lot harder to navigate than it was last year for the Yankees. And that's not taking anything away. I think people hear that and they go, oh, that's a shot. No, you play who's in front of you in the postseason. The Royals, I mean, as long as there's a central team in the American League, the Yankees will generally beat them. And I understand Cleveland's had their moments, but most times they beat those teams. And obviously they had 2 of them last year with the Royals and Guardians. That's not going to be the case this year. If they do get a team in the Central, it's going to be the Tigers, which has been the best team pretty much overall in the American League. Now, 888-808-1019. Evan and Tiki here. We got Tommy. We got Tiki. I have an interesting Anthony Volpe take, but we'll save that for next segment as we roll through here with the Yankee calls. I will give Tiki dealer's choice here because we have the callers up and there's a bunch of topics. We could see what he says. So we have Loogie is a Yankee hater. Another guy wants to punch me. Another guy says negative Tommy. And the Yankees are beating teams they have to beat. So Tiki, you could pick.
Let's start with violence.
No biggie. All right, we'll go. Oh, you woke up and chose violence today. All right, let's go to our. And it's really the guy that wants to punch me has some chutzpah, some nerve, because when you hear the name of all people that wants to choose violence here, a guy that thrives on taking not subtle shots, he basically has
explicit shots,
explicit curse-laden videos where he drives by Citi Field and bashes Juan Soto. Let's go out to my dear friend, John in Maspeth.
What up, John?
Johnny, what's up?
Tommy, one sentence into your monologue, and I just want to punch you in your face for how stupid you sound, all right? Just sitting there and saying, oh, the Yankees are beating up on these teams. Do you forget, how much the Mets are beating up on the Marlins?
John, I'll let you finish.
Yeah.
But you have to promise me, because what you did there is not that's like saying if your wife comes to you and goes, you left the toilet seat up, and I go, yeah, but you leave your bras all over the place. When you get in trouble for something, the worst argument you could have is going, well, honey, you do this. So bringing up the Mets is just your way of defense mechanism, because that's what some people do. They go, well, what about your team? We're not talking about my team right now. We're talking about your team. So forget what the Mets do. Just stick to the Yankees.
The Yankees swept Milwaukee to start this season, and you're like, oh, that's not Milwaukee at their best.
It wasn't.
Did you know they won 7 of their next 8 games after that?
Yes, but that opening weekend,
we did beat them at their best.
The Brewers pitching,
they just couldn't beat us.
No, John, the Brewers pitching that weekend was not where it was at right now. John, you know that. You're better than this. The Brewers pitching was a mess to start the season.
If you really want to talk about something, Don't talk about your Mets and the record between,
John.
them at home and them on the road.
John.
Why are they?
I know you have a big conspiracy theory.
There are 17.
So hold on a second. I know you think something's going on is fishy.
Below 500 on the road.
You think something's fishy. All right. Well,
Why?
the Mets did well in Williamsport, so you're telling me that something's fishy going on there? No, because you've already said this. You've already brought this up.
You guys can't win on the road.
Right.
You guys can't win on the road.
Now give me the Yankees record. Hold on,
games on the road.
John. Give me the Yankees record at home and on the road. That's throughout baseball. Most teams, overwhelming majority of teams, do better at home than they do on the road. See, the problem with John there is that he kept bringing up the Mets as a defense mechanism instead of trying to bring out points about his team. You know what I mean?
Well,
and that's sort of that argument that
he's just trying to keep it real. Because
Is he,
that's
though?
baseball. It's the same thing for every team. All the good teams are going to beat up on the bad teams. That's what they're supposed to do.
I agree, Teak, but when they play the good teams, the Yankees, they get exploited. Not every good team gets exploited when they play the better teams or even like the middle of the road teams. You know what I mean? Like the Yankee pile-on wins, to me, and that's where we're at right now, especially off of last night's home run barrage, is when they are at their best. And that's just something that you can't do in October. It's just not going to happen because you're facing way better starting pitching. You're facing lineups that can go, run for run with you if it does get into a little bit of a shootout. And that's where I think things like last night over these last couple games where the Yankees' issues get masked, where the bad fundies, the bad base running, the bad managing at times, the bad usage of the bullpen, the lack of, I would say, not necessarily clutch hitting, but when I say depth to the lineup, meaning the Yankees, and we'll get into a little bit of it later because Caballero's kind of given them a different vibe in terms of a hitter.
Right.
They kind of have the same guys, and that's why I didn't think they should have traded for Suarez, who's been a mess with the Mariners, so I was, in theory, right on that. And McMahon has given them more defense than Suarez would have ever given them. But I think that's the type of stuff that, I know that has been an Achilles heel for the Yanks when it gets to October. 888-808-1019 is the number to call. Let's go to Jason in the Bronx. What's up, Jason?
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up?
I'm a big New York fan, so I would agree with Tiki with these are beat-up games. These are the ones that get you rolling. Now, what are you going to say if they stay rolling against – they have one of the toughest schedules coming up in the next 3 to 4 weeks. What is it going to be then?
There are tough opponents. There's some easy
They got all the teams while they were going bad now?
No, I wouldn't say that, Jason. What I would say is that if they do perform, if the Yankees do perform well in those games, and it's just the way they win those games, and I think that's important.
Right.
If they are more of the bullying, now I'm not going to take the losses or the wins away from them, but I want to see a Yankee team put it all together, Teak, against the good teams, and then I will acknowledge them as Roman Reigns does.
Right, and so that happens if they put a full effort together, and that's what we're talking about here, right? We saw it. Carlos Rodon was good, really good last night. He had a couple of mistakes, but whatever. You got seeded 5 runs before you even had to even think about it. So it didn't necessarily matter. So you need Cam Schlittler to have a good outing tonight against the Rays in the second of the two game series that they're playing. You need Luis Gil in the first game against Boston to look like the rookie of the year that he was last year. You need Max Fried on their Amazon Prime game, which is the second of that series, to look like Max Fried it was at the beginning of the season. Now, do you trust all that's going to happen? Not necessarily, but if you get some momentum and some feel good about you because you got right against the teams that you were supposed to beat the crap out of, then you know what? It doesn't matter how you got there. It's just that you are there. And I feel like that's what the Yankees can use this soft little patch in their schedule to do. That's what you're supposed to do. It's baseball.
I just think that this Yankee team, and when I say that, when I always reference the Yankees now, I look at the Aaron's era, the Boone King Judge era. They are probably the most unique team in all of baseball. And what I mean by that is they have been consistently in October, and they have lost pretty much the exact same way every single time. And it's not just to Houston. They've obviously lost to Tampa. They lost to the Red Sox. They lost to the Dodgers last year. it is essentially a given. Now, I understand you enjoy the ride, you go through the roller coaster, but it is a given, unlike any other team, maybe now the Dodgers are in that conversation, it is a given that they're going to get to October unless they have a million injuries. If King Judge gets hurt and misses most of the season like that happened a couple years ago, stuff like that.
They got to be a little bit, they got to place 55, 58%.
Right. They got to be ravaged by injuries. So the standards are to win a championship. And the things that they do wrong and their flaws are so obvious that until they're corrected, I don't see how they win a World Series. I just don't. And it just feels like every year it's the same song and dance with this team.
True, but for right now, that doesn't matter. You're not winning the World Series on August 20th. It's not happening. You're trying to get yourself as good and consistent as a team as you possibly can. And if it takes some get-right games to get there, so be it. If it takes a renewed rivalry with the Boston Red Sox because somehow they're surviving after all the issues that they've had this season, then so be it. That is what it is. So to me, you take any positive and you build off of it. All the negatives, learn from, flush them down the toilet. That's how you have to do it in sports. Otherwise, you get caught thinking about things that don't matter. They don't mean anything.
I don't think it's an unfair statement to say that the Yankees are soft and they run a country club. And until you break that mold, this is just a mirage when you have these type of performances. This is just taking
You're such a hater today.
I think it's. I think there's
Can't
a lot.
You get excited about the 13 runs and 9 home runs.
Let's go Yankees. I don't know where
that's a record, man. They've done it twice this season. Milwaukee, as you talked about at the beginning of the season, and as John was saying, Milwaukee wasn't in a rut then. They went on and won 8 of their next 10 games.
That weekend, their pitching was not where it is now.
They started the season. They got hit over the head by a superior opponent at that time. But they then went on and won 8 of 10 games. So it's not like Milwaukee sucked to start the season. It's just the Yankees took care of business. And so the Yankees are taking care of their light work right now. And hopefully it carries over to when they have the Boston series and then these latter bigger series that come after it.
I'm not saying anything that I think a lot of Yankee fans agree with me on. They may not like the messenger that's messaging them the message, but they agree with the message. Like I'm sure Gabe and Wayne. Gabe, you agree with me, right? Of course, right? You're obviously a long time a P1 listener. You call all the time. You got to agree with me on this one, right, Gabe?
Yeah, I got to say, I don't inherently disagree with what you're saying, but the caveat here is that the Yankees weren't winning these get-right games a couple of weeks ago. We got swept by the Marlins. We lost the series to the Rangers. Those are teams that we should have beaten. All right, so we weren't winning these opportunities.
Well, the Marlins were. I'll let you finish, Gabe. The Marlins were red hot at the time. They were playing great baseball for like a month or so, or maybe even more than that.
Absolutely, but losing a series and getting swept, alone are two different things. Getting swept out of Miami is unacceptable. You can't do it. You can't lose a series against Texas when they're struggling to score runs. You can't do it. So at the end of the day, what they've been able to do the last couple of games is, playing those get-right games the way that they have to. But they got to win more laughers the rest of the way than close games. I hear what you're saying. I agree. I think that fundamentals, winning close games, is huge in the playoffs.
Right.
But right now, they got a possibility of making the playoffs as a wild card team, losing out on the division, and going in to play road game series for the rest of the way through. Aaron Boone hasn't won a road game series in the playoffs.
But Gabe, Gabe, I think winning laughers is the worst possible thing for this team. I do. I just think them bullying teams is just a false sense of we're the Yankees, we're back, we're bullying these teams. I think, and obviously you can't say, all right, let's not hit.
What do you want to do? Take your foot off the gas?
No, I understand that. I understand you can't not hit a home run. If it's there for you, hit the home run. But my point is that it would serve this team to have more like closer, tighter games where they're forced to field the ball. They're forced to run the bases properly. Aaron Boone is forced to make the right decisions. And this is against the good teams, I'm saying. Not against the bad teams. If they're that bad, there's no way other than to bully them. You know what I mean?
I hear you. My pushback would be this. The Yankees have burned through their bullpen because every game seems to be a high-leverage moment, and they cannot afford to do that if they want to bring guys like Bednar, Weaver, and even Doval healthy and ready into the playoffs.
Right.
They're not going to be able to utilize them if they're burnt out.
Right, Gabe, that's why I was talking about the pitching, the starting pitching. Right? Luis Gil's got to be Luis Gil that we saw last year. He's got to get deep into the game. No different than what we saw from David Peterson last night. Now, was that a get-right game? I'm not going to say that was for the Mets, but you know what? David Peterson got him right.
It was a David Peterson get-right spot
100%.
based on what he had just done in his last performance.
8 innings. Yeah, he got into some trouble in some of those innings, but he always found his way out of it. Nobody pitched other than David Peterson. If you can do that, it makes it so much easier on your bullpen when you need them, because inevitably you're going to need them.
And the reason why, because John brought it up, and I'm sure there's people that are saying this in their car right now, well, what about the Mets? The reason why the Mets are different in terms of, well, let's say they go out and they sweep the Nationals. Well, aren't they bullying this team?
Yes.
This Mets team, though,
Nationals team, 25 games below 500.
They have a lot of young, up-and-coming players. The Mets under this, like Mendy, Stearns, Steve Cohen, we don't really know the formula for this team yet. We have seen this Yankee team and this version of this Yankee team now for years. So it's easy to diagnose this is what they do well, this is what they don't do well. Where the Mets are still a little bit of an unknown. If we're sitting here 6 or 7 years from now and the Mets still haven't won a championship and they continue to do the same thing over and over again, incorrectly or wrong, and it continues to plague them, then we could have a conversation of, man, the Mets have to change something.
The Mets haven't been good enough, long enough to say, well, this is your consistent flaw.
Exactly. They made that great run to the NLCS last year, and now you look at this year, and I brought up some of the things that have plagued them, which I think are all correctable and fixable, where I think sometimes with the Yankees, it is, and listen, it could end up being that way with the Mets, but I'm trying to be fair by saying that, but I'm also going to say that the Yankees have a bad culture, a bad vibe.
Oh, there's no bad culture.
Come on, it's a country club. It's a country club. It is.
I refuse to believe that.
They don't run a tight ship.
There's too many new guys there. There's too many guys who are hungry to be great as Yankees. Cody Bellinger, etc. I can't Duvall. Whether Bednar, like these guys, they're not resting on their Yankee accomplishment laurels.
But the guys at the top, Boone, Judge, even Cashman to a lesser degree because he's out there day in, day out. That to me is where it starts with the country club.
Disrespecting King Judge.
Well,
calling him complacent.
Well, King Judge, outside of yesterday when he got mad at the manager, have you ever seen him get mad at anybody?
No, I'm glad he got mad at the manager.
But he picked that one? How about you pull a teammate to the side once in a while and tell him, hey, get your head out of your rear end? He's more worried about getting mad at the manager because he, for once Aaron Boone gave you something other than reading off a teleprompter, and then Judge got mad at him.
It's all right there in front of us.
Exactly. That's why, by the way, Aaron Boone says that type of stuff. Because when he actually does give an opinion, the captain of the team gets mad at him. You know what I mean?
By the way, we haven't heard that really this year.
Why? I think that, and I've learned this through my positive Tommy journey. Sometimes you have to mix up the material a little bit. You know what I mean? Like when you're Kiss, you want to hear rock and roll all night long. I get that. But when you're other bands and you have like maybe more songs, you got to mix it up a little bit. Because I started to do the positive Tommy lines from last year, and people were like, we want new stuff. So I try to come up with new stuff sometimes. No Biggie, which is, everyone's like, oh yeah. But no Biggie has caught on. So I think Aaron Boone has changed his material a little bit. 888 for the best. 888-808-1019 is the number to call.